Alright. Rewatch it? Haven't seen it?
Hey guys, what's up? MadSeason here, and I'm finally back with another episode of Time Warp. This is a series where I go over features or things that used to be in the game, but were removed or changed for one reason or another. For this one, I wanted to cover the old Paladin and Warlock mount quest chains that were removed in the Cataclysm.
Wait, somebody... Wait,
That's right.
Okay, we gotta pause this. Somebody wanted me to look at the new news about on Wowhead, okay? Give me 1 second. Let's take a look at what the news is. New Pepe costume and Rise of Ashara. Wow. That's incredible. Holy shit. This is really, I mean, we've been waiting for this for a long time. Thank you, Blizzard. I really appreciate your dedication. This is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
Another thing that was removed with that expansion, it definitely gave me a lot of material for this series, that's for sure. Now, there are of course two different mounts for both of these classes. Originally, it was the level 40 versions and the level 60 beefed up versions. For the level 40 ones, you just did a quick turning quest to learn how to summon the mount.
Yeah,
for Warlocks, it was the Felsteed, which you learned from an NPC in Ratchet. And for Paladins, it was the Warhorse, which you got from an NPC in Stormwind.
It's so dumb, dude.
And
they
from
got
these
that for
quests,
free.
You also got the Apprentice riding skill trained, which allows you to ride 60% speed ground mounts. So, because they were quest rewards, they were free, which was a big deal back then. In the early days, not counting reputation or honor discounts, the level 40 training used to cost 10 gold and the mount 100 gold. And for level 60, it was 100 gold for the training and 1000 for the mount.
Like
this was later changed to where the prices were reversed. The training was switched to 100 and 1000, and the mount to 10 and 100.
Yeah, they're making the training cheap.
Most
and
people
the mount
didn't have
expensive
100 gold at level 40, or 1100 at 60, and they would have to save up for quite a while. It wasn't uncommon for people to be mountless until the 50s, or seeing level 60s riding the 60% speed mounts for several months. So, just being these two classes gave you a pretty big advantage, and it was actually a pretty controversial thing at the time.
Yeah, that was
stupid. You'd have forum posts saying that it's unfair, and that it's preferential treatment, that it's an unacceptable slap in the face, and so on. I never understood that, and that totally had nothing to do with the fact that my first 60 was a Paladin. Nothing at all.
Okay,
but
dude.
while it was true for the level 40 versions, it actually wasn't entirely true for the level 60 versions.
Yeah.
And that's because, as you'll see, the quest lines for the level 60 versions were quite extensive, and they also required expensive items or just straight up gold costs to complete.
That was badass back in the day.
Far from free, which is what most people thought. Anyways, let's get into it, starting with the Paladin one, since this is the one I actually did in vanilla. This one gave the awesome Charger mount. It was the same for both races, both humans and dwarves got the same mount. And later, when the Blood Elves were released, they got a red version, which I'll talk about later. It all started from the Paladin class trainer in Stormwind, Lord Grayson Shadowbreaker. The first quest requires you to travel to Ironforge and talk to an NPC called High Priest Drohan.
A donation of 150
of your own gold in exchange for an item called the Exorcism Censer.
See, that's a little bit of realism, right? Whenever you're interacting with the church and religions and priests, you have to give them money. And so that's a little bit of realism there in the game. I like that.
Once again, a substantial amount of money back then, and if you completed this part, you were invested in the chain and pretty much had to complete it unless you wanted to essentially waste 150 gold. The next quest sent you to the Terrordale area of the Eastern Plaguelands, a high-end level 60 zone, and it required you to exorcise 25 spirits there. It was quite lengthy, but
I don't remember this
solvable.
hardly at all, actually.
Now that you've proven yourself worthy, your next task was to secure some armor for your mount. You were sent to the blacksmith, Grimand Elmore. Now, if you thought 150 gold was rough, you haven't seen anything yet. This guy wanted not just 150 gold, but 6 Arcanite bars, 10 herbs called Arthas's Tears, 40 runecloth, and 5 Strathholm Holy Waters. This was when most paladins realized that the rumors of the free level 60 mount weren't really true. So, that's 300 raw gold total so far, and the Arcanite bars in particular were very pricey because they were locked behind a daily alchemy transmute. And they were used in many high-end crafted gears, so they were in high demand and therefore expensive. The herbs and runecloth weren't too bad, and the holy water you got from little crates in the Strathholm dungeon. So, this was the first part that required a full party to complete, and everyone competed for these crates, so you had to let your party know that you needed 5 holy waters for the quest, or you might come out empty. So, now that you have the armor, you just need the horse. Shadowbreaker
That's the
tells
hard
you
part.
of an ancient equine spirit located in the Diremal instance,
Oh, dude, we
another
did
level
this.
60 dungeon.
We fucking did
and
this
he also
on
says that you
stream.
need special feed for it. For the feed, you have to talk to a special
Yep.
NPC in the South Shore Zone way up north.
Yeah, we did this.
She made the feed for you if you gave her 50 gold and 20 enriched mana biscuits.
That's a lot of fucking
You
money.
got these from an Argent Dawn quartermaster for about 2 gold and some change. So, that's 350-ish raw gold so far, on top of those trade materials. As for the horse spirit, as I said, you needed to head into the Diremal instance,
yeah,
so once
and there
again,
were those
another 5-man
spiritual-
escapade.
Yeah, those
Now, this
ethereal
did require a
horses.
key to get in, but I need a break from talking about those, so I'll just let you use your imagination
Oh
there.
boy.
You needed to
The
kill
BC
the Tendrous
attunements,
Workwood
man.
boss in
That
Diremal
was it.
West. He was the first boss, so it wasn't too bad, but Diremal was a giant maze if I remember correctly, so it actually was kind of bad. But
was
after
not
killing
good.
the boss, you'd notice a horse spirit
There it
would
is.
spawn. Since the quest is now removed, this just mystifies everyone these days.
Nobody
but
knows
if you
what it
were on
is.
the quest, you would have to catch the horse and feed it that special mana feed you got earlier. It allows you to place the barding upon its back, and it's blessed by the spirit, but you're not done yet. The censer you were using earlier must be converted into a scryer to be used in the cleansing ritual later.
You
And
need
to convert it
200
into a
diamonds?
scryer, you gotta pay up. It required an Azerothian diamond and a pristine black
I
diamond.
was about to say, dude.
You got the Azerothian diamond from thorium veins. Fairly
Yep.
expensive, but not too bad.
Yeah, I was about-
but
that would've
the
been
pristine black
ridiculous.
diamond was another story. This was a very rare drop from elite dungeon enemies, the Blackrock Depths,
I think you
Spire,
needed those for, like, the
Strathholm,
Shendal
etc.
rep.
It was very expensive as I recall, hundreds of gold. So, at this
I think it was
point,
hundreds.
you were pretty much nearing the cost of 1,000 gold that everyone had to pay anyways, unless you farmed all of this yourself, which was possible, but very tough.
It's a time
But now
investment.
that you have the scryer, there's just one more step. You needed to head into the basement of the Scholomance dungeon, where Rattlegore was located, and use the scryer. When you did so, it summoned waves and waves of undead enemies, and then finally a special Death Knight boss named Dark Reaver.
See, like, here's what's so badass about this, is that these things right here, you needed other people to help you. Can you imagine playing a game where people weren't that selfish, and they would actually go into a dungeon specifically to help their friend get a mount? Like, that's fucking awesome.
He used to be a paladin, but was seduced by the call of the Lich King into becoming a Death Knight. He imprisoned a once noble charger, and is currently using it as his undead steed, much like Baron Rivendare. You had to defeat Dark Reaver, and loot the charger's lost soul, and then use it to finally free its spirit. And that was it. With that, you finally obtained the charger mount in all of its glory. I remember when I finally got it, I did a few
There it
laps
is,
around
dude.
Ironforge in celebration.
There it is,
It was an
dude.
epic experience, much like the Warlock's Dread
I wish I had
Steed,
done
so
that back
let's
in
get
the
into
day.
that.
I never got a chance to.
Now, I didn't do this one personally, so forgive me
We
if
did
I
this
get
one
some
on
of the
stream.
minor details wrong.
Yeah, we did this
I
one on
did help
stream right
some
here.
friends get it, but I didn't have a Warlock
this shit
back
out.
then, so just give me a little leeway here, and feel free to post any corrections if you have any. So, the quest for this one started from class trainers and brought you to an NPC named Morzul Bloodbringer
Look
in
at
the
those
Burning
shitty-ass
Steppes.
shoulders.
He was located at the Altar of Storms, a very interesting place that holds statues that you may have seen before.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to do, well, warlocky stuff to get it.
Yeah.
Blood, demons, summoning reagents, things of that nature. The first quest required you to get 30 Raging Beasts' blood. For this,
Holy
you needed to go
shit.
all the way to Winter
I
Spring
did work
to kill
on this a
some
little
owl
bit on
beasts.
my Warlock.
Remember, this
I
is
never
vanilla,
finished
and
it.
the traveling for some of these quests was legendary.
See, that's how it was. You start here, you go over to there. Why? Because you need a mount. And what else are you going to do? You're going to farm out 1,000 gold? Fuck no. You're going all the way over there. These are the kinds of quests these should be max level quests. They should take you across the world. I fucking love it.
After completing that, you needed a special reagent called Zerathian
And Zendara Mall?
Stardust
I
to
know.
open a portal to another realm to summon the mount. The only problem is that this is only held by a certain Dreadlord located in Felwood, so Bloodbringer sends you to a servant, Gorziki Wild Eyes. For the next quest, you had to buy something called a shadowy potion
I don't
from
remember
him.
this at all.
This made you friendly with the demons of Jadenar located in Felwood, and they cost 6 gold each, so you wanted to avoid messing up. You needed to
Damn.
use this potion, and then travel all the way through the gauntlet of demons to
Oh,
a
I remember
Dreadlord
this
named
guy.
Lord Banehollow. He tells you to go kill an orc warlock named Ulithik, and as a reward, he allows you to buy the Stardust from a servant. It was 150 gold, and you had to make sure that you had that on hand before you started all of this, or else you'd have
Holy
to pay for
shit.
extra shadowy potions. After you turn in the dust, a series
This
of
is
material
awesome.
quests become available. In total, you needed 2 elixirs of shadow power, 6 large brilliant shards,
Wow.
25 dark iron ore, 3 black dragon scales, and 1 arcanite bar. These are used to make some summoning doodads like candles, bells, and other paraphernalia. Hey, no one ever said being a warlock was cheap.
Yeah,
Upon
they did.
completing that, you had a couple more quests
Warlocks
to complete.
are very cheap.
You need to write a parchment that's infused with the stardust you got earlier, but the only place you can do that is the Skullman's dungeon. Wild Eyes gives you an item called...
See, like, this is MMO shit, right? I mean, you go around to completely different places in the world and you just, like, do quests. And there's actually, like, a good reward. I think they still have... I mean, they still have stuff like this in the game now, to an extent. But the rewards are just so meaningless that everybody just considers it an inconvenience. It's like, okay, well, I guess I have to go over there and turn this thing in. And I think also, like, with flying, for example... Because you can just fly everywhere, most of these run from one point so far away to another point so far away. It's just go up and you fly and then you go down. And I just feel like it's kind of boring now.
The imp in a jar, who can create the parchment, so you have to bring it to the alchemy lab within the dungeon so it can make it. After completing that, you need to buy a few more reagents, an item called Jeevy's Jar for 150, and a black lodestone and Zerathian glyphs for 50 each.
Of
Not
course.
counting the trade materials, that's over 400 raw gold invested into this chain so far.
Absolutely.
But there was a trick. If you knew a warlock who already had those materials, you could just have him do the summoning for you. So you could save yourself some gold. Anyways, now that you have all you need to summon your steed, you just need to head to the right location now, which was the west wing of Diremal. And once again, you did need a key to get to where you needed to go. There's a boss in there named Imulthar. You have to...
See, y'all remember this shit, right? Like, we did this on my stream, and we summoned this mob here, so I could get this specific, unique transmog gear. This boss drops special transmog gear that's obtainable now, if you have somebody that did the quest and still has the items. It's obtainable now, and we did this on stream. It was fucking badass.
Kill him, and you'll notice a bunch of dyes in the room that were being used to imprison him. This is what we're going to use to summon the Dreadsteed. Once he's dead, you use the jar, and the imp sets up all of the doodads. Waves of demons start coming at you, pretty similar to the Paladin finale. The bell, wheel, and candles the imp puts on the ground will need maintenance throughout the encounter and requires recharging by the Warlock. You needed to use that black lodestone you bought earlier on them, and doing so took a soul shard, so you also had to stock up on those before starting. You do this until 9 demonic symbols appear around the boss room.
That was so annoying,
At this point, you use the Zerathian glyphs you got earlier to summon the Dreadsteed, which you have to then fight.
There he is!
Once it reaches 50% health, a dreadlord named Lord Helnerath appears to try and stop you.
Fun fact, they brought back Lord Helnerath, and he's actually a... this is actually something really cool that Blizzard did. They brought back Lord Helnerath in the Broken Shore in Legion, and if you had the Warlock class Order Hall mount and you killed Lord Helnerath, he would give you another mount. Like, Blizzard, it's not like Blizzard never does anything good. Like, every once in a while, they do actually do something pretty fucking cool, and that was one of the examples of it. That was awesome. Summoning demons, very respectable, kids? Absolutely.
You may recognize this name as a rare elite enemy on the Broken Shore in the Legion expansion, a cool little callback to this questline. From here, you have to finish off the steed and Helnerath, and if you're successful, you're done. The spirit of the Dreadsteed would then spawn, and if you talked to it, you completed the quest and got the mount. And like I mentioned at this point, you can even summon in other warlocks to talk to the spirit as well, so they could get it too, which saved them some gold. So, that's it for the original Paladin and Warlock mount questlines. Really interesting stuff and quite epic back in the day. If you had these mounts, you would turn heads since, like I mentioned, 100% speed mounts were quite rare for a while there in vanilla. They weren't free like most people thought, but they were definitely cheaper. But the questlines were tough, which is a fair trade-off, I think.
I actually really like that. I wish every class had a questline like that.
The Blood Elves also had their own special version called the Thalassian Charger. They were the only race on the Horde side who could be Paladins, so Blizzard wanted to mirror the Alliance quest chain. The Night Lord Blood Valor of Silvermoon City started this one, and it started off with some material quests right away.
Okay.
He wants you to join a special order called the Blood Knights, and to do that you need to pay tribute. You needed to bring 40 rune cloth, 10 sungrass, 6 arcanite bars, 5 dark runes, and 150 gold. Pretty pricey, but at this time, the Burning Crusade was out, so gold was a little easier to come by.
Wasn't a big deal. Nobody wanted it anymore.
The next part was a solo quest that required you to kill some Scourge in the Eastern Plaguelands. Nothing too difficult there. But the part after that was a group quest because it required you to go into the elite area, Tyr's Hand. You had to get some holy water from one of the buildings there.
Oh!
It was soloable if you were careful with aggro, but a group definitely helped.
Holy
and
shit!
the follow-up required even more materials. This time an Azerothian diamond and pristine black diamond just like the Alliance side, but also a couple of items bought from a vendor. An arcane catalyst for 50 gold, and a crepuscular powder for 150. Bloodwrath prepared this into a mixture for you to use in the Alonz's chapel near the entrance to the undead side of Stratholme. You use this mixture to douse the eternal flame located inside of the chapel.
What
the Blood Knights and Paladins are sort of at war with each other, so you did this to sort of prove your superiority to them.
That's actually really cool. They added that in for BC.
The Paladin inside, Aureus, will attack you once you douse the flames, so you had to defeat him.
Holy shit.
And once you did, 5 elite Paladins spawned outside and attacked you. If you were able to successfully kill them, you were awarded with not only the Charger, but also a special Blood Knight tabard. Definitely an interesting mirror to the Alliance side.
Look at this, dude!
That's about it. Those are the old mount quests in a nutshell. They're an interesting piece of the game's history, and they were a big deal back then. Remember, this was back when most quests consisted of kill X enemies or pick up Y items,
awesome.
So having these long chains with gauntlet finales was pretty daunting. But that's it for this episode. I hope you found the video interesting or entertaining. Dude. Like it if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next episode of Time Warp. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Ah, dude. Jeez. It's always really cool to go back and see all this old shit. I wish that Blizzard did more things like this. And obviously, like, you could say that the Class Order Hall quest lines were like this, but here's the big difference between the Class Order Hall quest lines and stuff like this, is that it wasn't spoon-fed to you in the same way that the quests are now, and so there was more of a sense of actually accomplishing something rather than just kind of going from point A to point B. And two, the other thing is probably, like, I would say, let me think, what would be the other thing? Oh, because it wasn't a guarantee. Like, there wasn't a guarantee that obviously everything would go well. And I feel like that was the main thing. Because, like, with the Class Order Hall mounts, you knew that you were going to get it. It was just a matter of time. And I think that really kind of made things boring. It's not just that. I think it mattered more whenever you got a fast mount. Well, yeah, there was that too, right? And, like, the Class Order Hall mounts were just basically another skin, and it wasn't a big deal.